What's going on? Blue Dooley in the office. 3D printer is printing out a wheel I drew up in FreeCAD. It's a single piece design as the snowplow needs some super single sized rims and nobody makes any I like, or they're too expensive, but mostly they're expensive and ugly. So, make my own. If you haven't seen in previous videos, we're running an RC 4-wheel drive BFG crawler in a 1.7 size. They're going to look awesome on that snowplow. And they actually fit on the Tamiya rims really well. Well, they sort of fit on the rims. Because the crawler is quite a bit wider than the standard semi-truck wheel. Come on. Work with me here, buddy. There we go. So as you can see, it's a little narrower than both wheels would be by itself, which is why they're called super singles. So we're going to jump into CAD and I'll show you the single piece design I made and bitch about the CAD program a little bit. And then I will show you the 3-piece design I have made, which is going to go together like a standard crawler beadlock wheel. It'll have a front, a back, and then the ring that goes inside the tire that pinches the tire to the outside pieces. So let's dive into FreeCAD. And this is going to be kind of a short video because I don't want to bitch too much about the CAD program, and not everybody finds that kind of stuff interesting. Here's what I have so far on my design for Super Single. That's going to be mainly for the snowplow, but I will make this available if anybody wants to print it. I just finished arguing with FreeCAD here for the better part of 2 hours trying to get these lug nuts where they're supposed to be. I watched a few tutorial videos and you are supposed to be able to make a pattern. Go up to this one, create polar pattern, and it's supposed to make a pattern of things in a circle, except FreeCAD never liked what I did. It'd select it, do the operation, tell it how many I wanted it to do, and then it would always give me an error saying it never intersected a support. And I can't figure out why, but I gave up, used the sketcher to create a sketch, drew the circle with the radius I wanted them for the spacing, and then just manually placed each lug nut where it needed to go. It took forever and it was infuriating. But now what we're going to do, we're going to hide the outside. And this is my center. The lug nuts are fused to it. Hex drive. It's fairly thick. I think it's actually 4 millimeters thick right here because I measured the dual rim, how thick it is in the center, and it's 5, so it needs to be a little on the thick side. And I'm not sure how stout PLA is going to be for a wheel. Depending on who you ask, it's probably a terrible idea. Or somebody else might say, well, if you don't beat the snot out of it, it'll probably work. So what I have here is a hidden cylinder. We'll unhide it. Go back up to the top view here. And this sketch is the radius I want to center my holes, because I'm kind of going for a 10-hole Alcoa super single. I've seen this particular style on a few trailers and a few trucks. So what I need to do is make 9 more of these, and they should be easier to center because I'm just going to put them between the 2 lugs along the circle. So That one goes there. Oops. Don't do that. Copy that. And then move it along the y-axis. You can just do negative, and that puts it right there. Apply. So now I have 2. Now I just need to do that 8 more times and get them equally spaced around my circle. I'm going to speed this part of the video up quite a bit as it's a slow and tedious process. If the CAD program, that it wouldn't error on trying to duplicate things or make a pattern, this would have taken a few minutes, as opposed to, I think it in real life took me about an hour. So I sped the next little bit of this up just so we can get through it, as all I'm doing is just copying and pasting and arranging my cylinders so I can cut my holes out of this piece, which, now that I've done it once, I can probably do it pretty quick again. So changing the view, I'm going to center that piece up over all those pins. Then I'm going to try to cut all of them at once. It doesn't like that, so you have to do it one at a time. Again, the tedious way to do it, but it's the way that worked. And I end up with the end result that I wanted. The piece here is a little on the thick side. Has the 2 rims together, I believe I measured out to be 5 millimeters thick where it goes over the axle shaft. I'm pretty sure I made this part here 4 millimeters thick, just to kind of play it on the safe side. I can always add a washer later, and I didn't want to make it too thick. Also added a little bit of a bevel on the holes, just so they look nicer. Here I'm getting my measurement distance from the outside of the wheel to where it needs to line up. Again, measuring off the stock wheels and kind of guessing. So it's not a precise measurement on how much backspacing these have. It's more of a guess. Happy with the way it looks. I'm going to fuse the 2 pieces together. Then add a couple of fillets on it to smooth out the transition between the wheel face and the rim barrel. I think it makes it look a little nicer, and it should make it a little bit stronger. I'm kind of hoping I made that center portion overkill, so even if you are using PLA, it'll still be a sturdy rim. You're not going to be able to really bash on them, I think, but just driving around, you should be alright. So here we are adding the fillet. Went with 2 millimeters, I believe. I can't see the screen when I'm doing voiceover, so I'm not 100% sure. But it looks nice, and I'm happy with the result. Here we have the wheel-in Cura, or Ultimaker Cura. And, of course, the way I designed it, the hex was actually facing up. So all I did was click on the item, rotate it over so the hex side would be down, and the outside facing face will be up. As you can see here, it'll take 21 grams or 7.8 meters, 08 meters filament with a print time of 3 hours and 33 minutes. I'm just doing one at a standard quality. I could have lowered it and gotten it to print a little faster, but you actually probably hear the printer in the background as I just got it started. I picked up a glass print bed for my printer. The magnetic mat it had, I kind of gouged it a couple of times trying to get parts off of it. Not paying attention, or my hand slipped and nipped the pad. So with the glass, should be getting the parts off without damaging the glass a lot easier. So in 3 hours, we'll have a wheel. We'll close out of here, jump into FreeCAD version 0.18, and this wheel I saved, and then I cut it in half. Now, clearly not in half. There's actually under parts, there's a split, and you can actually just slice it apart. And that's how I got it split apart, and then I moved the two sections a little bit away from each other. What I need to do now is delete this inside lip on both sides, and then I think I'm gonna get rid of 4 lug nuts, punch a hole through those 4 through both pieces, and then kind of do like the Tamiya style, just use a little screw, 4 little screws to hold the rim together, and then the main nut will also sandwich it together pretty good. And then of course I need to make a collar to go and pinch the tire to both outside rings. So I will not bore you with what's probably going to take me an hour or better to do the simplest of tasks. So we'll use some editing magic, and once I get a little bit done, we'll come back. Jumping back into CAD, I am cutting out the holes for the little bit of hardware to hold the 2 pieces of the rim together. I'm kind of counting on between the 4 little screws and the main wheel nut. It'll clamp the wheel on there really solid and work good. Not 100% sure how this is going to work, but I don't know until I try. So just kind of going over my thoughts. I added a little bit more to, well, here I am adding a little more material to those lips, just so the beadlock ring has enough material to sit on and stay put. Then we're going to get to making the ring itself after I get the rim cinched back together and measure it, so I know how long to make the beadlock ring. I did take into consideration how thick the tire I'm using is, although I might not have given myself enough wiggle room for the ring, so that'll might have to get fixed after printing it out and trying it. That's kind of how I do FreeCAD, just trial and error. I mean, it's a little bit of a waste of filament, but at the same time, it's not so expensive, and I'm wasting so much of it that a little trial and error isn't really a big deal to me. So this is pretty much my design process, is just start with a basic shape and cut, fuse, manipulate it in the simplest way possible to get what I want, which is just a lot of cutting and gluing basically. We'll get the ring repositioned, see how it looks. I'm going to add a little bit of a bevel to both sides just so it's the force it is putting on the rim is closer to the center of the wheel. But still really kind of happy with the way the wheel turned out. The one on the printer is printing really nice. So again, 3D printed wheels might not be the best thing out of PLA. I would like to get a spool of nylon, as that is a little sturdier material. So this is kind of a test run on these. The print time on all of this is going to be a while, so don't expect any videos of them in use for quite some time. Oriented. It's currently upside down, so it would do supports for this entire thing. So we will roll it over. Yeah, cut the print time in half, just about. It's about 2 hours. You can have the outer ring. Hour 27. Let's go 1.57 plus 1.27, about 3 hours. And now we'll check the bead lock ring. $4.43 hours. I think this time here on the Cura isn't always accurate. I think my print times are usually a little shorter or a little longer. It's been a while since I've printed something out. So to do one full beadlock ring, you're probably close to 5.5 hours. Again, depending on your machine, your print settings. If you print it in a lower quality, it'll print faster. If you print it in a higher quality, it'll take longer. Especially if you increase the infill. We'll just increase it by 20. Yeah, bumps it up over 2 hours. Let's go super quality. Three hours, yeah. We'll lower the infill percentage. Back down to 20. Yeah, still 3 hours. So again, depending on your settings, and your printer, will really kind of determine how long it's going to take to print these parts. But still, yeah, a couple hours to print your own beadlock wheel. That's not too bad. So I will print these parts out. I probably won't get it done over the weekend. But do stay tuned to my Instagram, as I will post photos of the single piece rim and this multi-piece wheel after I do get it printed out to my Instagram, so everybody can check out. If you are interested in the parts, let me know in the comments. And hope everyone's having a good weekend. We'll talk to you later.